Okay, John, best behavior.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, this is the first yard in the beginning of our slow wind down to winter. A little bit of explanation with that maybe is in order. So what we're doing, this is the last time we will really look closely at the brood nest. We're looking to see what every queen is doing, not just whether she's laying or not, but if she's doing a decent job. And when you look across this yard, you'll see several triples. Now some of these third story boxes were already here, but a couple are the result of having combined colonies. Selena found one colony with a really poor queen. We just killed her and added her two boxes onto other colonies. And there's this saying in beekeeping that is, take your winter losses in the fall. So right now is a really good time to figure out if a colony is going to make it or not. And if they're not going to make it through winter, now's the time to combine them with other healthy queen-right colonies. And that's what we're up to. These colonies are completely done with all their Apigard type mite treatments. We are also putting on our experimental extended release oxalic acid pads until probably mid to late November. And some of these colonies have been really good. That little box on the ground right there is what we call a brood hauler. Any colony that's doing really well and has plenty of brood, we're taking a frame of brood out of it and replacing it with an empty comb, and we're going to take this brood to other yards that are pretty small. We have a couple yards that were started with nukes not too long ago, and the colonies aren't really quite strong enough to make it through winter, so we'll take some of this extra brood down and boost them. All of those yards are south of our shop. We're north of the shop now. So what we're doing is we're starting at the very northern yard, which that's what this one is, and we will work our way south because the goldenrod and wing stem and stuff like that is starting earlier here. These bees have got a lot of pollen in them and a lot of pollen coming in. So anything that has a decent queen should have brood in it. If there's no brood in it now, there's a problem. Either it's queenless or the queen is bad. So just for the fun of it, maybe she can dig a frame out for us. This one looks like you might get a frame of brood out of it too. It seems like it has enough bees to do that.
That first brood hauler's already full.
Yeah, the first brood hauler's full. We brought several on the truck. And we are feeding now, and we're thickening our syrup. I mentioned that in a previous video, but every week we seem to be getting a little thicker and thicker, and we're up to about 1.5 to 1 right now, 1.5 parts sugar to 1 part water, and that's probably what we'll stick with the rest of the season. Today's date is, let me look at what's the date, John? It's the 9th of September, okay. Yeah, that's what we're seeing. Bring that a little closer, first look and see if the queen's, uh-oh, should I edit that out of the video or leave it in? Yeah, lots of pollen. We've got several kinds coming in. We've got some orange, yellowish orange, which is goldenrod. We've got some real yellow, which is wing stem, and then some lighter color stuff that may be ironweed or something like that. But mainly it's dominated by the goldenrod and wing stem right now. Brood's looking pretty good. Anybody that's not rearing brood right now has got a problem, because the pollen is the absolute most stimulative thing for brood rearing. Better than feeding nectar, better than feeding syrup, better than a nectar flow. Pollen is it. Pollen's coming in the door, they better be rearing brood. So the colonies are looking good, except for those couple. We had one that was queenless and one that had a bad queen, and they got stacked on other colonies. And because I'm not moving bees anymore, much to speak of, we're not leaving town anymore, going out of state, I don't mind leaving these colonies as a triple for winter. In fact, sometimes they seem to be the best colonies in the spring. I have no problem with that. We'll sort it out in the spring when we're making nukes. It's pretty cool. It was, what was it, upper 40s, maybe 50 degrees this morning, which is starting to cool down for us. A lot of our mornings have been low 70s for the last month. Fall is in the air. And that has a screened bottom board, wide open screen, not just a little. It's almost 100% screen, except for just the cleats on the bottom. And so it'll stay plenty cool for the day as we move on. And if we end up using it tomorrow and don't get that brood reared to, or that brood used today, tomorrow morning we'll take the frames and add them to the smaller colonies and look for any queen cells that may have been started, and we'll kill them before we introduce that brood. You know, one good frame of brood like I just showed can really help a small colony get ready for winter. One or two of those can take a 3-frame colony and make them good enough for winter. It's pretty deep up a hollow here. There's not a lot of people up here. It's a wonderful place. We're completely isolated, so much so that this may become one of our isolated breeding areas this next spring. This yard is dominated by Caucasian queens right now. I'd say 3 out of 4 of them are Caucasian, and the other ones are just kind of mixed stuff. Rims are coming off the double deeps. Don't need them anymore because the apigard is coming off. We generated an extra pallet here. It only had, what we did is the 2 colonies that got taken out. There was actually 2 good colonies on this pallet, and we just took them and moved them into the other spots. So we just completely do away with this pallet, and that works okay as long as the field force is still present from the last colony, the queenless colony. They'll adjust and be okay. I wouldn't move a colony from one spot to an empty dead spot this time of year. They'd lose a lot of their field force, and this late in the season it could kind of create a problem. Lots of pollen coming in the door. So John, I got an email this morning. Guess what it said?
What's that?
It was Mark up in Murphy, North Carolina. I was supposed to speak there last night to that local club, and I was unable to make it.
Yeah.
And Selena agreed to go in my place. And Mark said, "Thank you so much for sending Selena. It was really nice to meet the young lady that's taught Bob and John everything they know about beekeeping."
Yeah, we're lucky. That's awesome.
True. What'd you just say? That's a true story?
Yeah, right. Bob's getting better. He's getting better.
We have a lot of pollen coming in right now, orange and yellow. Seems like every other bee's got a load of pollen on it. It's the 9th of September, and I love seeing this because if it wasn't for this, we would have a lot harder time getting our colonies ready for winter and getting them through winter. I call this the fall buildup. This is when the bees are really rearing the bees that have to make it through winter. Our mite treatments are over, which is so important. At least in our region, it's really important to have your mite treatments done in August so that the bees that are rearing the winter bees are healthy, the virus load is decreased, and there's not many mites in the colony. It's kind of like if you're going to have a healthy baby, the mother needs to be healthy to feed the baby properly. It's the same way with the bees. You want healthy bees feeding the larvae that have to be the bees making it through the winter. This yard of bees is in pretty good shape. I actually got a few breeder queens in here, a couple queens that are showing zeros in mite treatments or zeros in mite washes, and have been showing zeros for a while. So we're keeping track of all that stuff so we can use it next spring for grafting and isolating into mating yards. It'll create our brood stock it'll create our drone stock for mating too. So here's 2 colonies of interest in this yard. We're actually putting on our experimental extended release oxalic acid pads on all of our colonies right now. But in every yard we have some colonies that haven't been treated, and we keep track of what their mite counts are, and some kind of fall out of favor and we end up having to treat them to keep them healthy. But these 2 are on the list of no treatment colonies, and they're still showing very low numbers, so we are not going to treat them now. They're going to go into winter. That's good looking brood too, isn't it? From here it looks like it's really healthy. So see, this colony had a 16 in the alcohol wash. This one had a 2. This one would have been treated. We didn't treat the zeros or the 1s. Anything above a 2 got treated. How's it look, John?
Yeah, not bad for the bottom, though. The top didn't have much. But
This was a single. I can tell this was a single during the honey flow, and we put an empty deep box of drawn comb on it.
Yeah.
So we're trying to feed enough to get that upper box kind of heavy. They got a lot of food in the bottom, actually.
I'm wondering, there might not be much going on. Might be
Mm-hmm.
queenless.
You got a queenless
Oh,
colony?
hold on. Oh, I see. Oh, look at this. Laying worker. Okay.
Laying worker, sure enough.
Oh, well, there's, look at that. There she is.
Okay, she's toast, John.
Yep.
She got a blue dot on her too. She's laying drones.
Okay.
Okay, good
Well,
eye. That's what we're looking for right now.
go ahead and get all that. Put a box of bees on something that was a 0 if it was, does that matter?
No, let's not put it on a 0. Let's
know what
not
I
put
mean?
them on our breeder queens just
Right,
to be
okay.
real safe.
Okay.
So you'll find a couple colonies in here. Anything with a rim, honestly, would have got an apiguard treatment. So that's if you got a good strong colony under there.
Yeah.
Actually, I already know this one was weak. I remember this from the last trip.
Okay. And that was a 6. Yeah, it had a high count
So
too.
yeah, apiguard's done. It doesn't look terrible. You know, and when you do away with this colony right beside it, it's going to absorb the field force from this one.
Oh, that's true.
So it's suddenly going to be a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
So, okay, if this queen's doing a good job, let's go ahead and add at least one of these boxes to this stand right here.
Okay.
It's funny how you can remember a given colony and 1,200
Right.
colonies, and I remember this colony that was kind of mediocre.
Yeah, I know this way.
Look at all this propolis under.
Oh,
This,
yeah.
they're really laying in the propolis.
Yep. Yeah, it's all over.
Yeah, there's some propolis.
That's the good
Me and
stuff.
John are eating lots of propolis these days. We're always on the lookout for propolis.
Propolis is awesome. You got pollen wrapped in that
A lot of
orange
pollen. One more for, I think she's doing great. I really think that's all you got to see. Just look at one more for the fun of it, though. We don't have to go through every frame in these things. We just got to make sure the
yeah.
queen's,
There
yeah.
you go.
She's, even though they're a little small, they're really good. So just add one of these boxes over there.
Okay.
This yard has been compromised by pesticides. I wouldn't have expected it. We're way out in the country. The nearest agriculture is miles away. But there's dead bees on the ground, and these colonies were full of bees a month ago, and now they're reduced down to 3 to 6 frames of bees. The very strongest colonies have 6 frames. Some of the singles are down to 3 frames, and you can see the dead bees on the ground. It looks like it happened 3 weeks ago, or perhaps more. The bees are starting to decompose a little bit, so it's not anything that just happened recently. What we've done is we brought some brood in here from some other bee yards. We're actually harvesting brood anyway for boosting some of our smaller colonies south of the shop that need a little help to get strong enough for the winter. So we boosted these colonies with a frame or 2 of brood, depending on the shape of the colony. We're going to stick with the queens we got. The queens are only about 3 months old, so we're not going to try to requeen or anything like that. The brood patterns don't look bad, so I think we might be able to pull most of these through just by boosting a little and feeding and a little TLC.